Team, I want to make this video talk about something, and that is about streaming equipment. Something I feel like I know an alright amount about. I'm not gonna lie, I'm not an expert. However, with my experiences going from beginning to where I'm at now, I do feel like I have a decent amount of experience, especially going through different stages of upgrading. So I would like to try and answer the question for you guys. Should you upgrade your streaming equipment? What should you invest in? What's important in a stream as far as quality goes? And also on top of that, do I feel like equipment leads to success when it comes to streaming? Oh, you guys have no idea how hard that first part was to do. Jack, what do you think? I did great? Cool. All right, back to your corner. What's going on, everyone? My name is IMB Paula. In case you guys are just stumbling across this video, I am a content creator that streams on Twitch. I tweet, Instagram, Snapchat, TikTok, the whole 9 yards. No, it's not a premium Snapchat. Don't get too excited. And obviously I make YouTube videos. So if you guys like what I'm creating here, or if you want to check out some more stuff, please check out the social links below. Don't forget to subscribe. And let's get down to business. Not to defeat something that rhymes with muns. Why, yes, it was a Disney reference. All right, anywho, forget all that. Anyways, I feel like a lot of times people tie equipment to success when it comes to streaming. Now, as someone that uses a lot of high-end stuff as far as a XLR microphone, a Go XLR, I have the SM7B, I have a mirrorless camera, I have a fancy chair that I like to sit in. It wasn't always that way though. I didn't start out with all this fancy stuff and putting this much money into streaming. I actually started with a lot less stuff. Where I started with my Asus laptop, a built-in webcam, and a microphone that was attached to my Astro A40s, which back then, if you compare it even to almost like the most basic external microphone nowadays, I feel like it was pretty bad. But the good thing is that everyone has to start somewhere. But I guess the question is, where do you start? Do you start out by investing thousands of dollars into your setup? Or do you start out by just starting with what you got? Or do you spend a little bit of investment and get the most bang for your buck? What do you actually do? Where do you start? And again, based on my personal opinion, what I've used as far as microphones go and stuff like that, or equipment, this is where my thought process is at, and this is why. First off, I'm gonna say right now that equipment does not lead to success. Now let me go and explain. Having a nice equipment, having a nice setup, having a nice stream, and all that other stuff, yes, it is nice, and I think it does help capture the attention initially of viewers. But the biggest thing to realize is that it doesn't always keep them there. If you were a viewer that jumped into a stream and you saw this,
Dude.
are you really gonna stay there? Probably not. The point is that what it really comes down to is the actual content. Now, yes, I would say that there is probably a minimum that you should shoot for as far as quality goes and standards and stuff like that, but it doesn't have to be the moon that you gotta shoot for right off the bat. Again, you gotta start somewhere and you gotta start in a smart way. People that take this on as a hobby or as a career or a potential career, no one knows how long you're gonna be doing this for. There is no guarantee you're gonna be doing this for 1 year, 2 years, 3 years, 4 years. Heck, you could honestly do this for a month. There's been a lot of people that have started and realized that this isn't quite for them, which is totally fine. Streaming's not for everyone, but have realized that it's not for them, and it would have really sucked for that person if they invested thousands of dollars in their setup and then realized this is not what I wanna do with my life, or even as a hobby. I'd rather go climb a mountain or do paper mache or anything other than this. Yeah, technically you can stream all those things, but don't even say anything. Stop right there, all right? Cut it out. Let me make my damn points. But should you really be that person that starts out with their laptop webcam and a microphone that's attached to a headset? I don't know. Let's talk about it. I feel like some of the important pieces to streaming are, as far as quality goes, are gonna be these couple things. One, I think you gotta be able to stream in at least 720p, 30 frames per second. If you go any lower than that, I feel like most people aren't really gonna be able to view it at a great angle, considering most people have either a 1080p screen or might not be viewing it on mobile. But even then, I think 720p on mobile is gonna look fantastic. And when you think about it, most people that are watching on a computer aren't even really full screening your stream. Someone's sitting there watching it and they don't actually full screen it, which again, most people do because they want that chat on the side to be able to interact, because that's kind of what streams are all about, is interaction, whether it's with chat or you. They're not really gonna be expanding it to 1080p anyways. Again, my opinion, make sure your computer can actually stream 720p at 30 frames per second, or even at 60 frames per second would really be ideal. And even going above and beyond that, I really don't think as a streamer, most people don't have to do 1080p. 900p still looks fantastic. It's not gonna be as much on your computer or your resources or on your upload speed, and you're still gonna be able to get a beautiful, clean, crisp, clear stream. I was streaming at 900p for a very long time until I started using NVENC on one of my newer cards. But again, That's like over a year into streaming, and I finally switched over to 1080p, which I'm still debating going back down to 900 because it's just extra resources I don't really know if I need to use. Now that we got some of the video things out of the way, let's go ahead and talk about your audio. And yes, notice I'm going in a certain order. Audio. People got to be able to hear you. If you sound like you're also in your house with a tin can like this, or you sound like you're in a country and you're gonna go like this, people probably aren't going to stay along. The reason why I think, honestly, I would rate what you actually stream at as far as resolution, and then what your actual audio sounds like as far as like your microphone. The reason being is that I feel like a lot of people don't actually sit there and always stay engaged in that stream. Like, they're not always watching it. There's a good portion of people that are considered lurkers. Now, really quick, if someone doesn't know what a lurker is, it's basically someone that is either sitting in there and interacting in your chat, might have the volume up or whatever and just listening to you in the background, or they might even have the volume down low and they're doing something else. Regardless, I feel like a lot of viewers multitask, which means they're doing something and they're listening to you on the side, which means they're not always looking at your stream. Why do I bring that up? Because audio. If they hear a nice, clean, beautiful voice coming through their speakers or headphones, it's going to be much better than if they hear someone talking like this, but you have a beautiful mirrorless camera that shows your face nice and clear. Probably not going to end up staying and listening to you anyways. So they're probably just going to leave. So that's pretty much my point as far as that. Which again, you can get some really competitive USB microphones without needing an entire XLR setup for well under $100. Now, I know this is probably a staple, or everyone calls this one out, but it's something that I've used in the past, and I think this is a microphone that will literally carry you until you get an XLR microphone, is the Blue Yeti. Blue Yeti is tried and true. Oftentimes you can find it under $100. Given the circumstance right now, that might be kind of hard, but you can usually find it under $100. Even sometimes around 80, maybe even less. If you really wanted to, you could probably even look on the used market and find it for even less than that, because someone might be upgrading to a different XLR setup instead of using USB, so you might be able to get it for a little bit less expensive than that. Again, if you guys have other microphone recommendations, it's been a long time since I've looked into USB, but feel free to leave those in the comments below. I personally feel like the Blue Yeti is, again, still tried and true, a great contender as far as microphone goes, and can really produce some phenomenal sound quality. As well as a pretty versatile microphone depending on what you're doing with it. That's besides the point. This isn't a review. This is just my opinion. And then lastly, the third thing that I think comes into play as far as aesthetics go is gonna be your camera. Do you have a camera? I think having a camera nowadays that can at least produce a 1080p picture is kind of important. Contrary to belief, a lot of people, you don't need to be using these mirrorless cameras for your webcam. Now, sure, somewhere down the road, it's gonna be nice to upgrade to one of these to get, the color, the bokeh effects for the lights in the back and stuff like that, the nice focus, the depth of field. But do you really need to start out by spending $500, $800 on a camera, maybe even more for a lens, and then you also need to find an adapter to actually adapt it to your computer, and then you need to get constant power, and then you need a way to actually stand it up on your desk around there somewhere. You need to make space for it as well. Yeah, maybe getting a $500 camera isn't too bad, but then you gotta think of everything else that comes along with it. So if you're just starting out, you're not too sure about your journey, or even you just wanna spice up your camera a little bit, get yourself a nice C920. Again, another tried and true piece of equipment that I feel like streamers have used for a very long time, and still to this day stands to be a really great webcam. Another webcam too is the Razer Kiyo? If you've seen my streams, you know how hard it is for me to actually pronunciate things properly, and actually be able to read things. So give me a break. I'm gonna just spell it out for you here, right here. The Razer webcam is actually a really nice one too. It's also gonna be more expensive. The Logitech C920, I'm pretty sure you can find around like $60 or $70 brand new, maybe even a little bit less than that. And again, if you find the used market, you can probably find one for even less expensive. And also the Razer Kiyo, if you really wanna step it up to that, is around $100, brand new. Again, both are great webcams that create nice 1080p images. And if you really tweak the settings and you really get it down and you get nice lighting, that's a whole different story. But if you get decent lighting, which the Razer just comes with it built right onto it, you can produce a really nice, clean and clear picture. I've actually had some friends where they actually tweaked their C920 so much, it almost looked like they were using a nice mirrorless camera or like a DSLR. And I stopped for a second and was like, wow, did you actually upgrade to like a mirrorless? And they're like, nope, just using my C920. Don't think you have to have this beautiful, clean camera to be able to produce good content. There's a lot of successful streamers that have actually started out with those kind of equipment or that equipment, or they even still use some of those things to this day. I see plenty of people using the Blue Yeti or the C920 for a webcam, and they're partners or they have a huge community, and they're actually much larger than me. And to be honest, I spent thousands of dollars on my freaking setup. It's kind of gross, But listen, I don't really have much else for a hobby other than content creation, work, going to the gym, and mountain biking. I'm pretty sure Tyler One still uses his weird Logitech headphones, which kind of became part of his brand just because of him streaming and part of his content. I believe even Lyric started out with mostly just gameplay and didn't even really use a webcam for a while. I guess kind of my point to answer this question, I don't really think that equipment leads to success. Sure, having all this nice camera and these beautiful lights and all that other stuff behind you, sure, it's gonna capture the initial attention of someone for a moment. However, what's gonna keep them there? You. You and the content that you're producing is gonna be what actually keeps people there. Your aesthetics and stuff like that might draw people in, or your title, or something that's witty and funny, or maybe it's just your overlays and designs might be enough to just get someone's attention really quick, but it's you and what you're doing and the content that you're producing is what's gonna keep them there. So no, I don't think you should have to spend thousands and thousands of dollars to be considered a successful streamer or to be a full-time content creator. There's still plenty of people that use those things I previously mentioned, and they're doing more than just fine right now. So if you're thinking about upgrading your stuff, again, you don't have to go way overboard with it. And depending on where you're at with your journey, if you're just kind of wanting to dabble and get your foot wet as far as content creation goes, start out with some of those recommendations, or maybe even just try what you have now. I feel like a lot of times people actually stop themselves from streaming because they don't have this nice equipment or this fancy equipment. When in all reality, you should actually practice and hone your content, not your equipment, your content. What do I mean by that? The more you stream with this equipment that isn't, super nice and fancy, you're still learning to engage with people, keep chat going, talk to yourself and create engaging conversation. Because again, at the end of the day, all this fancy equipment is only just gonna be able to grab their attention really quick, but you need to practice keeping them there. So don't let not having this great equipment stop you from streaming. Start streaming, practice your content, find your niche or what makes you unique, whether it's hugging a camera or screaming ooh woo and flexing for people. My point is, don't be afraid to use what you have now. Be smart about your initial investment depending on how you feel about streaming. And then yes, there might be some cases where you're like me and you love doing this, just genuinely. You might realize that maybe you're not gonna become a full-time content creator, possibly, no one knows. But you love doing this and you wanna do it day in and day out for a while and you really wanna put your all into it, then yeah, sure, if you wanna spend some money on it, go for it. I mean, at the end of the day, it's your money, you do what you want with it, but I'm just saying that equipment doesn't make the content to an extent. You do. You are the main focus of the content. So don't be afraid to just start with what you got. If you're gonna invest a little bit of money, you don't have to go crazy with it. And honestly, if you've been doing this for a while and maybe you've gotten a lot of community support and they wanna help you create your content or increase the quality of your content, then yeah, sure, don't be afraid to buy some of this stuff, whether it's an XLR or a mirrorless camera. If you think that's gonna help kind of increase the quality of your content and your channel, and you got some money to do it, sure, go for it. Feel free. It's your money, you do what you want with it. But in my opinion, it doesn't take all this fancy stuff to make a great community or to make amazing content. That comes to you at the end of the day. You are the singular most important thing about your content and your community, and obviously your community members. Without your viewers in your community, it's gonna be hard to actually create content for a long time if what you enjoy is, making people happy or showing people what skill you have in a certain game. So last bit, don't get wrapped up in all this fancy equipment. It doesn't make you, you make you. God, that sounds so cliche, but it's so true and you can't deny it. Thank you guys for watching, I really appreciate it. Hopefully, what I helped you with is whenever it comes to making content or upgrading your content, it kind of helps clarify some things in my opinion. Again, I don't think you need some crazy streams. 720p at 60 or even 30 is just fine. Being able to get up to 900p at 60 frames per second is golden. 1080p and above and beyond is overkill, to be honest, in most scenarios. And again, having just a nice external microphone and then a nice webcam and just a little bit of fine lighting can really make the world of difference in the content, but you don't have to go overboard with it. So don't stress that too much. Have fun creating content. It took me way too many tries to make this video. Feel free to check out my social medias below and also some of my other videos on my YouTube channel. Don't forget to hit subscribe and the bell notification. I like to upload at least once a week, and I do at least 3 to 4 streams a week as well. And if you guys have any questions, feel free to join the Discord or hit me on some DMs on Twitter and Instagram and all that fun stuff. You can find me everywhere. I'm Bipala. Thank you so much. Have fun making content out there, you content making machine, you. I'm gonna go now. I'm gonna leave after that.
Like, I don't use them because they suck. Like I like I like having the sights on it, but the reality is you can make your gun more stable and